There's my best friend.
It wasn't as bad
She
as
lives in
expected.
Marshfield now and they get okay.
We had a good turnout.
It's still snowing and blowing as of three.
Wow. Wow.
Gosh, Navy Iron One, so they got 26 inches of snow. So it's could have been worse. I got plenty of it.
I haven't only,
I
I don't know if
just
we're
did.
supposed to.
I just did.
Oh, you did.
So you know, we are live on YouTube, so they're very sensitive, so just be aware.
Computer wasn't chosen. They can clean up.
Oh, my lord.
And reassign. Yeah.
Sorry, Doug.
No, it's. Can't be avoided, unfortunately. Oh, no.
Oh my God, it's on. Can't take the next load.
How's the family doing overall there? Good.
I'll make it three, got a couple on it. Just.
It wasn't worse than this. Cause I've never done.
Yeah, I did once,
Okay.
but it was.
Yeah.
The ones that were the big one.
All right. We're all set. It is 5 o'clock. I'm calling to order this committee of the whole meeting for Monday, March 16th, 2026. At this time, I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion by Polly, seconded by Katie. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Moving on, special appearances, Two Rivers Accounting, Brandon Wilger?
Got it.
Awesome. What do you got for us, sir?
Well, I was asked to come present or come talk with the board, so I'll just move up over here. In relation to the financial statement audit that we've completed. Not knowing 100% what you would like to discuss, so I prepared a few page summary, I believe is in your board packet. That you should have received.
Is there an extra one? I did not receive it. I've been out of town until 3 o'clock today.
Got it. But is it something you emailed or is it just something?
Thank you. It might answer some of the questions, or you can tell me where to find it on there, okay?
Well,
We'll see.
I'll go through this. I mean, just to kind of give you a general idea, this is kind of what I present. And I encourage questions along the way, whether they be while I'm presenting at the end, however you want to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
So, all right. And I'll, if you guys want to just email it to them at some point or make copies when I'm done. So if you see the report or what I'm looking at, so generally I have the item number one, and then I have, if you recall receiving like a
Yeah, we've got
financial
that,
statement.
we have
Okay.
that copy, we don't have then the copy,
So this here summary will reference
okay.
this document, so it'll reference on here what page you can find that at.
We don't have that one,
I understand.
yeah, okay.
So do we want to make copies of it quick?
Yeah.
Does everybody need one?
Yes, please.
Are we okay waiting until that's that?
Yeah, that's fine. Tight fit.
What's new in Siren?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Much is Cumberland and Rice Lake have though.
Well, we got like 4 inches, so
Oh, really?
yeah, we didn't get any.
Where are you from?
Basically.
Rice Lake?
Oh, really?
They
Or-
closed today.
Oh, I know.
Are your children at home?
Yeah, I don't know why they closed. I think once Cameron closes, there must be like a group of them that
Usually.
put pressure on each other to close. And as soon as they close, then it's like Rice Lake's usually within 10 hours.
Yesterday, they closed at like
But
2 or
Yeah,
3.
they're
And then
And they
snow
never close.
since,
They're usually the last,
3 o'clock
even like
yesterday.
2 hour late, they
So,
never.
like, more than that,
We made us go to see.
clear the roads.
There was somebody
Yeah.
that over in Pound that had like 4 or 5 inches.
You've been closing for way more snow than what we're.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
I can't
Or
remember
we've
how
been
much we
hoping.
even got.
What we got,
Not last, but.
so, I mean, it's been really, really windy, but.
Yeah.
I would have most, we got listed since,
What was this like on?
and that was a lot. that we took, so.
This afternoon, a friend of mine in Marshfield, they had 28 inches of snow. The wind was whipping at like 40 miles an hour and they were still under warnings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my I have a brother and sister-in-law in Mosinee and they were in Madison yesterday. It took them like 4 hours to get to Mosinee. And they got to their road and it's literally one pass through
Wow.
and they're, I should say, the main road. So then they're like off, like their, I don't know, cul-de-sac hadn't even been plowed. And it was mid-thigh when they walked through it to get to the house.
Crazy.
But it's gonna be 50 by Friday. Oh, no.
There was probably a foot, we were in the cities, our flight was supposed to be yesterday morning. And then that was canceled. I bought a new flight for last night and then that was canceled and then this morning we were like, we're going home. Why we have travel insurance.
Right. But I know a lot of people that are delayed till tonight or
Thursday.
tomorrow coming in.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
but they have told us a reasonable flight out would be Thursday and our flight home is Friday.
Yeah.
And we checked multiple airline.
Where it's from.
And some people could have flown, like, they were supposed to come home Saturday night and they canceled it. And we ended up getting nothing until
Here, I'll swap you.
really
Right.
overnight Saturday.
those too.
So.
Thank you.
I've got the one you gave me.
So just,
All right, if everyone's got it,
Ready to go?
yep, go ahead.
All right, so then just quick overview. Item number one, that's just the items on the list, and then as you can see, audit report page, that's where you can reference the full document with all the information in there. So I'll just go ahead and get started, pages 1 through 4. This is the independent auditor's report. This talks about, in a nutshell, the responsibilities of the school district, management and administration, and the board, along with the responsibilities of the auditor, what I have to do to be able to opine on your financial statements. Okay. Just trying to think. So overall, we've issued an unmodified opinion. What does that mean? Ultimately, that means your financial statements are in accordance with GAAP. So that means that as far as we're concerned, as far as GAAP accounting goes, your financial statements adhere to that. That's essentially what an unmodified opinion means. That's the highest level you can receive in the financial reporting world. If there was major concerns, you would have known about it a long time ago as far as not being in compliance with GAAP. So on that end of it, unmodified just means that you're complying with generally accepted accounting principles.
And that's from the paperwork that you were given, the statements and stuff you are given, right?
Based on all the information that we
Yes.
obtained, yes, yep. Okay. Item number 2, pages 14 to 41. This is what's called the notes to the basic financial statements. So the basic financial statements are essentially pages 5 through would be 13. Okay, that's in a nutshell, that's all you would have to issue in a very basic under GAAP, you have to have footnotes, but essentially that's the basic financial statements. The footnotes are there to help explain what's in the basic financial statement. So it goes in detail about the operations of the school district just in general, like as general as how many board members do you have, how many taxing districts are within your school district, all that type of stuff. It also talks about cash and investments, long-term debt, capital assets, Wisconsin retirement pension plan, OPEB or other post-employment benefit plan. Basically anything in additional detail that you wouldn't get just by looking at the face of the financial or the basic financial statements. So a lot of detailed information in there. I generally don't cover that in the meeting itself, but if there's questions on anything in relation to what we're going over, I can certainly reference that as we go through. Item number 3, pages 61 to 62. Items 3 and 4 kind of go hand in hand. 61. So we're looking at 61 through 65. The first one, independent auditors report on internal control over financial reporting and compliance on other matters based on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. A big mouthful. Okay, so in a nutshell, essentially the school district is regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. So we have to do what's considered, so we have the financial, there's really in a school district audit, there's 3 to potentially 4 different audits, if you want to call it that, all built into one. So what you're looking at is 1, the financial statement audit, which we covered in pages 1 through 4. 61, 62, that's compliance with the requirements of Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction and the requirements of the state statutes related to school districts in the state of Wisconsin. So every year we look at, if the statutes change, if they did, do you still comply with them? Yes or no? It's really basic. Yes, you complied. No, you didn't, because it's that cut and dry. Similarly with the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction requirements, they update those annually as well. And we literally go through a checklist. Are you in compliance or are you not? Okay, so pretty basic there. There were no findings. Well, I'll touch on that. So see schedule of findings and question costs. Pages 63 to 65. Independent auditors report on compliance for each major federal and state program and on internal control over compliance required by uniform guidance, which is related to federal funds received, Wisconsin state single audit guidelines, and then again, the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, and that's brought in here as well. So uniform guidance governs essentially federal funds that you've received. So if you receive over $750,000 in federal aids, you're required to have what's called a single audit. A single audit is essentially a compliance audit over federal aid that you've received. So like food service program, are you calculating your free and reduced lunch personnel correctly? In your case, everyone receives a free lunch based on being at a certain poverty threshold. Okay. So then the free and reduced really isn't in play while you're under that program. Wisconsin state single audit, since you have a federal single audit or you're over that $750,000 threshold, you also have to have what's called a state single audit over the state aids that you get. Now, if you didn't have the federal single audit, you wouldn't have a state single audit, but you would still have to, your state aids received would still have to be in compliance with state requirements just because of the DPI aspect of it. So no matter what, your state aids are always going to be looked at, and you're always going to be audited in compliance with with the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. So as relates to the compliance with federal and state awards, we really didn't have any issues there. You were in compliance with the requirements of the federal grants that we tested. If that makes sense. Okay, we're not required to test 100% of all your federal aid. We're not required to test 100% of your state aid. We're required to test 40% of it. So that's 40% of the dollars. So in the schedule of findings and question costs, we do outline what programs we tested. And I don't remember off the top of my head which ones they were, but I believe one was impact aid. And the other was the child nutrition cluster, so the food service program.
So 40% of it was, but not 60. So the majority of it was not.
Correct. So there's steps that we have to go through in a federal single audit that you're determined to be either a high risk auditee or a low risk auditee.
Okay,
Very seldom do I have anyone that qualifies to be a low risk auditee. Why is that? Because I help prepare the financial
I
statements.
saw that.
Soon as we help do that, you're automatically a high risk auditee. Okay, does that make sense? And that's extremely common for almost all school districts in the state of Wisconsin, unless you have enough staff on hand to write the financial statement.
And that's common. So it's not a conflict of interest that you prepared the statements and audited the statements.
It is not.
Okay.
But on my end, I have to document what safeguards and what things I'm doing
Okay,
to make sure that that's okay.
okay.
So it's definitely a risk area. But some of the, like one example I have is all the audits that we do as a firm and all the financial statements we have, I've actually contracted with a third party firm
Okay.
that reviews all the work I've done. So they're basically making sure that, yep, I'm following audit procedures, 1, and 2, the financial statements that we're helping prepare are in accordance with GAAP and are based on the audited information that we're getting.
So
Does that
are
make
you
sense?
paid to do the statements separately from the actual audit?
Have it all as.
It's all in one. Oh,
Correct.
okay, thank you.
Yep, it's all
Thanks.
one. Yep. Okay. Any other questions on items 1 through 4?
Oh, I got all kinds of questions on all of those items.
Okay, do you want to, that
Well,
would be a good time to address them. Yeah.
I'm on page 2 right now.
Okay,
It says, conclude whether in our judgment, there are conditions or events considered in the aggregate that raise substantial doubt about the school district of Siren's ability to continue as a going concern for a reasonable period of time. I found that referenced in two other places.
Yep.
In number one, it's checked no. Or I mean, it's checked yes, that there are significant concerns.
Yep,
And then on your note 17, it says the accompanying financial statements have been prepared assuming that the district will continue as a going concern. Okay, so when I looked back and that said, as of June 30th, the district has experienced significant financial challenges, including recurring operating deficits, declining enrollment, reductions in state funding. These conditions raise substantial doubt about the district's ability to continue as a going concern.
okay,
Okay. So I looked at last year's audit,
Yep.
Very briefly, because like I said, I just got home. And I noted that it wasn't a concern last year, but it is a concern this year. And I'm wondering how we got to be in this
so,
situation that's now being described as catastrophic if it wasn't a concern last year.
so it was, and then I did have a conversation with Kevin in that
It
regard.
was marked that it was not on
But
the
it-
report.
Correct, but it
Okay.
was not to the level that we were required to disclose or put it in the financial statement.
Okay,
Because based on the information that we had the conversation about, going out for a referendum, you know, things of that nature, making cuts to programs that needed, that there were gonna be, he felt there were needs.
And taking the operational loan.
Correct, areas where there would be cuts made that could basically keep you out of the going concern situation. Does that make sense? Reasons why it wasn't
it
reported
doesn't
last.
because it doesn't look like it was, like anybody looked ahead. What if that loan had not gone through?
So the loan had. if
The
I were-
loan was $2 million this fall.
This fall, when I issued the financial statements for the previous audit, I had no knowing that that.
That's
loan
what I
was out
need.
there.
It wasn't, you didn't have that information ahead of time that needed to be done to get us through this school year alone.
Correct.
Okay,
So as soon as we found out that. One, you were going negative fund balance, and two, you were looking at issuing a long-term loan for operations, automatic red flag.
so there was, when you discussed that with Kevin and it wasn't included in the report, was any of that information
Yeah.
shared with the board? That it was in a situation that was looking risky?
That would have been whether or not he communicated that to you.
Kevin? Was that
Yeah, I did an executive summary.
of
I
the,
talked about, our deficit due to, our salary schedule, and then our fund balance was in jeopardy.
you did that as a part of an audit report last?
No, I didn't do an audit report.
You didn't do
I did
it,
not do an audit report.
Okay. okay. Okay,
So-
that.
So
was
there's
my
just a
biggest
lot of
thing is,
things that have changed,
in 1 year,
correct?
you're saying that it was a big enough change that now we're
It
in,
has to be reported that way, yes,
that it had, you're not saying we weren't in that trouble, didn't have to be reported that way,
correct.
okay?
I mean.
Because I'm saying we did not get in this
So I've
situation
been,
any.
so I'll give you an idea of how likely a going concern is taken. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. This is the first going concern I've issued in a government setting. So generally speaking, we have the conversations beforehand. So hopefully that means you gotta make the cuts, you gotta do whatever to stay out of the going concern. But when I show up the following year and you're in negative fund balance in the general fund and you're taking out a $2 million operational loan,
Yeah,
do I want to report a going concern? Absolutely not, but you're at that position.
Yeah.
Where it changed very quickly, and so. Yes, that's kind of why it went from
from nothing,
to. yeah.
seemingly nothing.
I mean, you go from. You know, your fund balance decrease in 24 was 70,000 to your fund balance decrease in 25 was 409,000. Well, if you have a $70,000 decrease, you're still, you know, the conversation's probably coming up again and we're evaluating it at that point. I don't think I was expecting a $400,000 loss after a $70,000 loss. Does that make sense?
It does,
It kind of, I wasn't expecting to see that
Right.
when I showed up either.
yeah, and it's concerning, I mean,
Yeah.
that was significant.
Yep, absolutely. What other questions do you have?
I'm trying to skip over some of these, just, I think I answered one of the big ones. I noticed, and I'm wondering if this was an error, this was listed in both of them on compensated absences. It's page 36 of this year's, and it says, any unused sick leave that accumulates over the maximum of 95 days shall be paid out at the end of the school year at a rate of $50 a day. Any unused sick leave is forfeited upon voluntary or involuntary termination, except as specified. And then it says, staff members are not paid out at retirement, but they are. So I'm confused. Staff members are paid out at retirement.
I'll have to look at the
Okay,
wording.
because I
So we
retired
just have-
5 years ago and I was paid out $4,000. I know of people that were also paid out
Yeah,
for unused sick leave, and it's specific. And then the other thing is that rate per day. That's not only $50 a day. If you're admin, you get paid out $100 a day or something. Isn't it, Laura? It's separate, it's a different amount.
we'll have to double check the policy and just update that.
And I know you're only working with the numbers that were given to you. I understand that. So what I'm saying is, I feel like there are some misstatements not attributed to you.
And it's possible I misread the policy in that regard, but, definitely it is common practice that they are paid out at retirement.
Yeah, exactly. And so I read that, and knowing that I retired here 5 years ago, I know.
But
what
it,
it is.
sometimes your policies, and I don't remember yours off the top of my head, but,
Yeah.
sometimes the policies will say you have to be an employee for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, often.
Right, so if you were here for 30 years and the next person's here 8, it's a possibility that a person here for 8 years won't get paid anything or will get paid.
But there's still a certain amount of people that do.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, and then also, I'm skipping back to page 3 because while you keep saying that we're in compliance, it says the district has omitted a management discussion and analysis that accounting principles generally accepted required to be presented. And then twice in there, it says that that was not done.
Yeah, so management discussion and analysis, it is required by GASB, it's not. And it's required by GAAP, but it doesn't bring it to the level of where it's gonna modify the opinion on the financial statements.
Okay,
This is actually extremely common.
okay,
I have several schools that have an MD&A and I have several schools that don't. It's completely preference.
but it says it's required. That's where I'm confused.
So
It's required, then it has to be done.
it is
And you're saying it's
required.
not done.
I don't know how to best answer this question without throwing somebody under the bus that isn't in this room. Likely your previous audit firm asked to remove it.
That's a yes.
Yes,
Okay,
okay. And so it's 15 pages probably of additional information, just kind of high level graphs and charts and
okay.
for whatever reason, before me taking it over, that was eliminated and it hasn't ever been made to bring that back in. The decision has never been made to bring that back in,
How long have you been doing the audit here?
since 5 years, maybe
Okay,
6 years.
so that's been an ongoing thing for 5 years that it has not been done.
Correct.
Okay,
And that's a common,
yes,
you're not the only school district, you're not the only local government that doesn't have an MD&A. It just basically, that paragraph has to be in there if you don't have it included in your financial statements. It's not a compliance thing that's gonna put you. Isn't gonna raise any red flags with anybody,
okay.
if that makes sense.
Deficiencies, they're not the same as a non-compliance. They're
Correct,
less than a non-compliance.
correct.
Okay.
So like item number 5. On the summary sheet,
Mhm, yeah.
I'm guessing that's where you're going.
mhm.
You want me to go through
Sure,
those?
you go. Yes, I do, actually.
Alright. Sounds good. So item number 5, pages 77 to 86, and this is gonna have a lot more detail than what I have, what I'm gonna say.
And you start on page 71.
70,
That's the summary schedule of the prior year one.
so I will, but essentially they're all the same.
Okay,
So rather
So-
than hash those out and then rehash them out.
Okay, go ahead
I'm
then,
gonna
and
cover
start where
them.
you wanted to.
And I can double check that to make sure that's the case.
Well, they were also, many of them were repeated findings from 2024 as well.
Correct, and
So
I'll
it
cover.
looks to me
and I'll
like
Cover that,
there are deficiencies that are ongoing that have never been addressed.
and I will address that with you here in a minute. Okay,
And then the one other thing in those, which is on page 76,
yep.
which was also, is that the prior year?
Mhm.
Okay, it says, one of them said it would be resolved by December 31st, 24, but yet it's a repeated finding. So does that mean it was never resolved when it was supposed to be?
Correct,
Okay, now you can go ahead.
okay.
And then the last question.
All right, sounds good. All right, so 77 to 86 schedule findings and question costs. Normally in a non-compliant or compliance audit, non-yellow book audit. This would be a separate letter to management and to governance. But since it's a yellow book, it's built right into the financial statements, so. Finding 2025-01, lack of segregation of duties. Essentially, you have people in your staff that write checks and reconcile the bank account. Okay, so that automatically puts you in lack of segregation of duties. What's the way you can mitigate that risk? Approval of vouchers by the school board or by someone outside of that transaction cycle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you sit in a small school district, in a small government, when you have the school board, some of that responsibility is gonna fall on you, whether that's the treasurer, whether that's the clerk, whether that's the president of the board or the chairman of the board, whichever you wanna call it. Some of that responsibility is gonna fall on you to be actually reviewing the checks either after or before, preferably before they're written and sent out. That's one way you're gonna mitigate the risk. You could hire another person. That's not usually financially reasonable or financially possible in most cases. So essentially lack of segregation of duties. We look at who's doing what. Are there areas where it's risks involved? And in most cases there are. Of the 7 school districts, 8 school districts I work with, all of them have the lack of segregation of duties.
That doesn't surprise me.
When I did an audit at the county level, or when I used to do county level audits, counties have them. Why? Because there's a small department that has someone doing all the financial aspects of that department. Okay, so it's not, and if we go down to like a village or a city, it's prevalent there as well, right?
It's been on every
Yep.
one I've ever.
Sure, yep. So that's item number 1. Item number 2, financial accounting and reporting under generally accepted accounting principles. That's because I help prepare the financial statements. Okay. Some audit firms make you sign a little document that can quote unquote take that finding away. I don't feel that is appropriate. Anything I sign for you doesn't change my involvement in preparing these. So I'm always gonna report that as long as I'm writing the financial statements.
Are you on page 81 right now?
I'm just following my notes, so I would be on page 81, yes.
Okay,
Or no, sorry, I skipped 81.
okay, on,
Page 82, I'll come back to 81,
okay, good.
okay? So financial accounting and reporting. So essentially, we help put the financial statements together, so that's why that's reported. I'll jump back to page 81. Page 81, material audit adjustments. We determine materiality when we're going through and doing our audit. We don't provide management or anyone what that level is. If we make a recommendation on a journal entry over that threshold, we report this finding. A lot of times it has to do with potentially accruing a grant claim. Generally, we don't take those into account because your Laura has submitted the grant claim, just maybe due to the timing of when we're here, hasn't had a chance to book it yet. There might be a reclassifying entry between revenue accounts to be in compliance with DPI. does that mean that anything's wrong? Doesn't mean that anything was done wrong or done intentionally wrong. It's just a correction to get it in the correct bucket. Some other things would be, maybe accruing expense for health insurance. So I don't know if you're familiar with how payroll works. You have 9-month staff that are essentially paid from September through June, or that's how you're supposed to recognize it financially. And then you have 12-month staff that are recognized, obviously 12 months out of the year. So when it comes to the 9-month staff, you have to accrue back, the payrolls, generally the July and August health insurance bills, depending on the timing of when that you're paying the health insurance bills, and then any other benefits that relate to your 9-month staff has to be accrued back to June 30th. So generally, there's some journal entries related to that. When you have construction projects or building projects, a lot of times we'll have to help book back retainage on those accounts or on those contracts at year end. Or if, the June invoice came in mid-July and doesn't get paid till August, generally that has to be booked back. So there's a lot of reasons why a journal entry can surface. If we would have felt any of them were intentional or fraud related, I would have been in front of you way before now. So, that's where I'm at with that one. Any
Okay.
questions on that?
Yep.
Go ahead.
That one says, this finding will be resolved by the end of June. By the end of June 30th, by June 30th, 2026. When I asked the leadership how that was gonna be done, they said they had no idea.
Okay,
So is that something that you advise on?
it's something that we can help through, yeah.
Okay, and then, because during that, it said the condition was during the audit, we identified material misstatements in the financial statements that required audit adjustments to correct errors in account balances, and disclosures were identified. There was a budgeting thing that had come up with $150,000. And Laura had put it based on what she believed you were telling her to do, 50,000 on top of each administrator's salary. So it looked like Kevin, Carrie, and Jamie made an additional $50,000, which I know that they did not.
Yep.
Or I believe that they did not.
We did not,
Right.
we did not.
So I have been asking, I don't know where that $150,000 is. And if you're only looking at what they have and you're giving them a number and saying, just put this somewhere, how does that help?
How does what help?
How does it help to balance it when you don't know where that money went?
So I have seen the journal entry and vaguely remember that conversation, but essentially what happened in that situation was there were journal entries that we made that didn't get reversed over a number of years. And so when she was reconciling at the time of that journal entry, that's when it was realized that the corrections weren't made in the correct period. So really, it comes down to make the correct the liability and all that in the correct period. It had to happen at that point. I guess I don't know how else to explain it to you other than that.
Well, it seems like we're taking a number and we're gonna balance our budget, even though we don't know how we did it. And that is a huge concern to me. I mean, I don't just take so many $1,000s and just say, here, I'll just stick it under this, because I don't know where it is. I'll just say I bought this.
Well, I think we knew it related to accrued benefits from previous years, that the journal entries that we provided weren't reversed. So a lot of times what happens is when we book back an expense or create a liability for whatever's going on at that time, it already occurred in the following year. So generally speaking, so the easiest way to explain this is accounts payable related to a contract for a building project, let's say. So let's say through the end of June, the contractor did $100,000 worth of work, okay? But that got paid in August of the following year, but it should still be booked back to as of June, okay? So that check was already paid. We made a journal entry to increase liability, increase expense as of June, okay? The problem with that is that journal entry should have been reversed then in the following year, right?
Right,
Otherwise, it's what, double counted?
and it should have been found in the previous year. If this happened over years, you're saying,
It was over a year or two, yes.
so, but it wasn't found on the previous year's audit.
I would have to go back and look at the journal entry in detail to answer that question to say yes or no.
Okay. Okay, and then it says the material misstatements resulted from deficiencies in the district's internal controls over financial reporting, including inadequate review and reconciliation.
Okay,
So you're saying that was a long-term thing?
I'm saying that there are inadequate reconciliation procedures over
Okay,
some of the account balances, yes.
so you will help resolve this by the end of June, and it won't show up as a repeated finding next year?
That
Would be
I can't. say.
Desirable, right? That's what we would be,
Desirable.
if it says it would be resolved, we wouldn't want it to show up again.
Correct.
But this is the third year in a row that some of these have shown up.
I would say it's probably the 20th year in a row that some of these have shown up.
Okay, okay, go on to.
But it's, so to that point, material audit adjustments is also a very common finding at all school districts throughout the state of Wisconsin. They're not, school district of Siren is not the only one that's occurring on. Of all the eight school districts I work with,
It's the
all.
only one I'm concerned about.
No,
right now.
what I'm trying to get at is, I'm trying to give you some perspective that it's not just here. It's.
Understand that. I just think when it
statewide.
says it will be resolved, I would expect things to be resolved. That's all.
Yep.
And like I mean, we can say it's a problem everywhere about everything. And it doesn't fix the problem in Siren. So,
I understand that.
okay,
Yep, and that's, I mean, as you as a school board and administration, that's something that you guys have to work through together. I can't be the one driving. I can't be the one driving the correction on your end, because then
Absolutely.
I'm not independent
no,
of the situation. Does that make sense? If
yeah, I
I'm the
feel
one
like the
reaching-
board hasn't received enough information and that's not your problem.
Okay. All right, moving on to.
Can I go? I mean, I don't know. Can you say something? I don't know.
If it's about that, yeah, go ahead.
Well, basically what you're talking about is reconciling the,
Yes,
Yes.
basically reconciling at the end of the year.
Yep.
Okay.
And
It's common in all businesses. I mean, you're always gonna, I farmed for many years, you get the end of the year and you're like, well, I either spent a little bit too much or I have extra. So where did they go from? You have to go back and try to figure it out.
Correct.
And sometimes you can't.
Right.
So then you have to just put it in somewhere because you have to do your taxes. So it's basically just reconciling of numbers.
Okay. Page 83, financial reporting.
82.
Sorry, I thought we talked about 80.
You did. I didn't
Oh,
have any questions
oh.
on that one, because you were going back to 81.
Okay,
Condition, during the audit, it was noted that the internal control system does not include a process for preparing the annual audited financial statements and the related disclosures in accordance with GAA. Cause, management does not have the training or skills to prepare the financial statements. I asked the leadership what training and skills they needed, and they don't know. Can you help them understand that so that I understand that?
well, one, you have to go through, understand how the financial statements go together. I think that they're definitely capable. I could walk them through how to do it. But it's something until you sit down and do 5 or 6 of them, it can be very difficult to do.
So there isn't a specific training or something that they should be going to learn that so that we can help them? How could we help them get the training and skills needed?
I could probably look to figure out what training specific, but ultimately you'd have to be doing it to really learn how they work.
All right,
Governmental accounting is quite a bit more difficult than your typical business when it comes to generating the financial statements.
And this one says it won't be completely resolved.
exactly. I just, when it says they don't have the training or skills,
internal
it's nice to
control.
know what that means.
Does that mean our people or is that, so is this talking about our staff? Cause it says internal control system. Or is this a system that we don't currently have that needs to be
No.
auditing our financial statements?
No, so I'm doing the audit of your financial statements. Essentially how it would go is I do the audit. I provide what we propose is audit entries related to all the work we've done. And then your staff would take the time to basically generate draft of this document. And then I would basically audit that document to make sure it matches what we have as audited information. Okay, so
So when did, there's like a
Do most
software
districts do that?
thing?
there are
You do the
very few
same.
districts that do it.
I think there's a little misunderstanding here that we just don't have the staffing to do some of these things that are required in here. We simply don't.
Right,
And we're being thrown under the bus because we're incompliant. And when that fund balance came the way it was, we talked about that directly,
Yeah.
immediately.
Yes,
And I gave you the cause of where it came from. And we talked about working with Baird, the $2 million loan that we had a plan to do and then call it a referendum. Plan is being followed and we're doing that. There seems to be some impropriety that, or some understanding that we're holding something back or impropriety going on here. That is not, in fact, the case. We are fully transparent with you when you come in here. And we have discussions all the time when you come in here. We work very well together. So I don't want to be misunderstood that we're not complying with the audit and we're doing something inappropriately. That is not the case at all, period. We're doing as much as we can with what we know and what we have. I mean,
I'm simply trying to understand how this process works and how it got to be.
or you're, yeah.
Such
you
a
are, but at
significant
the detriment of
problem
the
in here.
administrative. Yes, we're working as much as we can with what we have with our auditors and we're doing our very best. And I think you would echo that as well. I mean,
The problem with the report is when you look at it from, say, more of an outside perspective, it looks like people need to go to training. It
Yeah.
looks like they just need to sign up for a training and go to a training.
sure, what training is there?
But that's what we're asking.
Work, that's the point, like.
Or is it
Look,
like, is it a system we don't have or we can't, another, a lot of times it's
I
these
don't think
programs.
there's a training offered for this. You have to do it, right? Isn't that what you were saying?
But we're
You have to
just
gauge-
asking questions so we can understand more.
yeah, 100%. It's all about having a little more perspective on the whole situation.
Yeah.
And I think,
I mean, we'd be happy to have board members involved. You'd be
Or-
happy to.
But have we been asked?
We didn't know.
And
And that's, I
I'm
mean,
trying, and you're being defensive, so.
I am being defensive because I feel like we're being targeted here because we're doing our very best.
don't feel like it's an attack. We're
Like I say,
understand, and I appreciate Brandon. Some of us have been on the board how many years? I've never seen you yet. You've been the auditor for 5 years. I think we've been on the board, what, 4 years now?
Yeah, and we had prior to Brandon, we had the auditor come all the time, and then it just got to be a point where either the auditors wouldn't come or didn't want him to come anymore, so we did stop doing that. And so that was, I mean, I'll take that, but the fact is, we would love to have the auditor come every time, and we did for a period of time there. So, yes, that's on me.
like I say, the problem is when you look at just the wording of it, it makes it sound way more simplistic than it actually is. As far as like, just go to a training and get done on this, or be able to delegate the duty to someone else, or, and having the context of it's not just gonna be like, go to a 3-hour class and now you can prepare this report and we're good to go, is something that we're needing to hear. And unfortunately, for the administration, when things are worded that way, it makes it be like, well, why don't you just go to the training? Well, why don't you just do that? So I'm glad he's here to explain this so we have this better understanding.
I am as well, and when I asked this same question at the board meeting, and Laura said, I would love to know if there's a training or something, and we would obviously love to support that.
yeah,
And that's why that's a question.
Yeah.
If there's some specific training, and you're saying there probably isn't,
correct.
then we would like to support that.
Yeah, training for this would be really just going through it
Okay,
several times in a row.
because like I said, that,
And how it works.
Well, the one.
That times
Thing is, this is once. a
all the
year,
rest
right?
of them, I think.
Correct.
That's a lot of years of doing the same thing to learn it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know of a couple districts that do it, but you're looking at people that they have CPAs, been on the audit side for a number of years before going into the, into the school district side. I know there's some pretty big schools out there that have several CPAs on staff and don't write their own financial statements. So that's one thing, being here helps give some perspective, and I know you're focused on Siren, but it's not a do or die situation when it comes to writing the financial statements. I know the wording is that way, and I know the wording is very based on the standard. So it's gonna seem more harsh than what the reality of it is, but so I get your understanding on that. You're reading this, you're like, holy cow, world's on fire. And that's why I'm, trying to give you the perspective on that, just to help hopefully ease some of the concern.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I was very grateful that you were able to come.
Anything else on page 82?
No.
Okay. So page 83 kind of goes hand in hand with 82. And I'll just jump forward so you kind of have an idea of what I'm looking at. So on the last 4 pages of the document that you were handed, and these are directly from the full document. But since we're talking about this finding, I want to just pull these to the front. So pages 66 and 67, this is your schedule of expenditures of federal awards. Okay, so yes, it's within the financial statements, but we help put this together. We help figuring out, okay, title 1A basic grant, the ALN is assistant listing number 84.01A. So we help make sure that the aids that you're getting from the feds line up with what they're saying it needs to be reported as. So then when you look at the standards, this is a standalone thing that essentially it's just like preparing the financial statements. If we have any involvement in preparing this or helping prepare this, ethics say that I should be reporting it. Standards say that I should be reporting it. So that's the stance that we've taken on it.
Okay.
Since we've helped basically track down all the information for these based on their grant claims, based on all the funding they get, we make sure that it's lined up with the correct sort. The ALN, they used to be CFDA number, if you're familiar with that. They changed it a few years back to ALN, which is assistant listing number. So if you go out on the federal, I think it's the OMB Office of Budget and Management website, you can find a list of thousands of these ALN numbers that say, oh, here, this number provides funding for housing. This number provides housing for DNR related stuff. So, I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to do there. Because then when we get to page 84, financial reporting to the Federal Clearinghouse data collection form. So basically we take the federal part of it and plug it into the federal website saying school district decided to receive these grant funds. Okay, and we have to report that to them. Okay, and then we upload the financial statement. I certify it, Laura certifies it. And then if there's any issue, they would come to you and say, well, we have that, we paid you X number of dollars, you only say you got this much. If there's any discrepancies on their end, they're going to be reaching out as well. Okay, so that's 83, 84 kind of all in together combined. So then page 85, cash reconciliation procedures. So essentially, and this has kind of been ongoing the last couple of years. It was corrected, I think, one of the first years I was doing the audit, we had it, and then it resolved itself, and then it kind of came back up. And like I said before, I don't think there's anything fraudulent happening. When it comes to that, it's just helping getting it reconciled, whether it be at year end or if there's an issue with any time during the year with the month end. So if we help or provide assistance in doing the reconciliation, it's our duty to report that. Now, ideally, obviously with any of these findings, we would prefer not to report any of them, right? But
Right.
reality is, I feel that if we have an issue at all, that we bring it to the surface so that it can be addressed. A lot of times these findings, remember that DPI gets these financial statements and a lot of times Laura or Kevin will get emails related to the specific findings and what are you doing to fix them and all that type of stuff. So that is there as well. So what questions do you have in regard to that?
And you're on 85 now.
Correct, yep.
My only thing on that one again is it says this finding will be resolved, and this looks like it's something that the district can in fact resolve.
Yep.
So.
I know Laura's been working hard on it.
Mhm.
She's been calling me, asking me questions in regard to it, and I think she's on the right track.
So then
so
will we get a report when that is resolved? Yes,
Yeah.
okay. And then I do wanna go back to one, it was another one.
Before you carry on, so one thing, and I know Laura might get mad at me, but. One thing you could do is once you have the cash reconciliation completed, you could provide that at the board meeting for the treasurer, or maybe not at the board meeting, but. Let's say the treasurer comes in on whatever day, hey, I got it done, come take a look at it. And whether. The treasurer, or whoever that person is that goes in and approves it or reviews it. If you feel it needs to come to the board, then that's your discretion. But that would be one way to kind of give you the inside scoop really on. If it's being done, when it's being done, all that type of stuff. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm gonna go back to page 76 just for one question, because it was another one that I had asked. And Laura had said she would like to know what it was, but I think it was on. The district did not follow the controls established to maintain the proper monthly bank reconciliations. She said she didn't know what controls she didn't follow.
Well, the control is just completing an accurate bank reconciliation, right?
Okay, so it's not like
literally
a,
the same finding that we just talked about.
it's not a strategy, it's just.
Correct,
Okay,
it's just,
okay,
yep, exactly, it's just doing it or not doing it, or. Completing it timely,
okay, I thought it was maybe some specific type of thing,
Nope, it's
way to do it.
doing the
Okay,
reconciliation.
that makes a lot more sense.
Okay. Any other questions on item number 5? So that's,
Be
oh,
clear,
yep.
so some of them, it sounds like we're just always gonna have those, they're never gonna go away likely, and then some of them, a few of them.
Yep.
We're working with Laura to figure out what can be done.
Yep,
That's correct.
correct, so like items 1, 2. 3. And 5. You're likely gonna have. Long term,
So those, even though it says they're gonna be resolved, that's not actually real
some of them may, well,
or
the
likely,
ones that are not likely, it probably states in there that they're not.
that it's not
That's gonna
likely.
be an ongoing thing.
Okay, so a couple of them, there's things that can be done to
Correct.
make some changes.
Material audit adjustments and cash reconciliation procedures could certainly be eliminated.
Okay, so.
And actually, I have several clients that don't have them.
Okay, but the other ones are pretty common. Okay.
Correct.
And then none of these findings got us out of compliance or anything like that.
No,
None
I
of
would
them
have
wrote
noted.
about it.
Correct, that,
Okay,
yep, you would have been a modified opinion. You would have had compliance issues with the state,
Yeah.
but none of them got you.
those would have been times where the board would have been needed to be notified,
Correct.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's anything like fraudulent going on that is raised of my concern, you'll probably hear about it when we're here for audit.
It actually says those are hard to find right in your own narrative.
What's that?
It says it's easy to find misstatements on the forms you're given, but it's more difficult to find anything that would be fraudulent.
That is a true statement.
Yeah, I read it like 3 times. but
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you're saying if there was fraud, we would be notified. If it
If
was fraud that
I'm
you were
saying-
aware of. we
if
would-
I'm saying if I was aware
Yes.
of fraud,
Yes,
you would have been notified by now.
yes. But by the information you were given, everything looks to
Correct,
be fine.
yes,
Yes.
okay. Good there?
Mhm.
All right, item number 6. And you'll find it in a couple different areas, so you have several different page numbers there. So when I look at general fund, I'm talking fund 10 and fund 27 combined, okay? So for financial reporting, since fund 27 takes a major transfer from the general fund. GAAP GASB requires that those funds be reported as one versus showing them as separate. Okay. So we'll look at the general fund as of June 30th, 2025. Cash and investments were essentially zero, taxes receivable, just over 1.8 million, a little bit of accounts receivable. Due from other governments, 235,980. That's generally speaking, your federal grants that have been claimed but haven't been received yet. And then other assets, usually a prepaid or inventory, 16,150. For total assets there of just over 2.1 million. Accounts payable, 27,720. Accrued payroll and related liabilities, 661,183. So you can see kind of over time from 2022 to 2025, people are getting pay increases. You might have more staff on hand, all the things. Okay, but essentially that's that accrued payroll and related liabilities. That's for your 9-month staff to kind of, that's what they're going to get paid in July and August. Think of it that way. Then you have short-term note payable, just over 1.4 million. And then other liabilities, 284,471. A lot of times that other liabilities is just due between funds. So since you have zero cash, that tells me that you had roughly 284,000 negative cash in the general fund. So other funds are kind of covering that negative cash deficit. Fund balance, total fund balance at negative 278,357. General revenues for the year, just over 8.1 million. Expenditures, just over 8.4 million. And then you have net other financing sources and uses, 91,769 as of uses. So you'll see 91 in 25 and 99 in 24. That's a majority of that's related to your food service fund. Okay, so food service funds are not allowed to go negative. They have to be financed through the general fund if they are in that position. So essentially the general funds had to kick some money over to the food service since post-COVID. During COVID, food service funds went way up. And then kind of now post-COVID, they've come back down and it actually went the opposite of what most of them were pre-COVID. So that's where you're seeing that. So there's a metric there on the bottom, percent of unassigned fund balance to general fund expenditures. That's at a negative 3.5%. Obviously, we'd like to see that better. 1.1, 2.1, and 9.1 over the last 4 years. Generally speaking, we're looking, there's no like, it has to be this or that. Case law upholds 25 to 33% as like a general rule of thumb. A lot of times that's going to get you out of short-term borrowing needs. That's going to get you out of, the emergency, need short-term debt type of thing. And it's just really hard to operate when you're at basically zero. So obviously we'd like to see that trend upward in the future. It has definitely trended downward since post-COVID. And so there might be cuts that were added in COVID years that, you still need to consider removing long-term or moving forward.
Is the food service thing a delay in payment?
It's because we have free and reduced lunch now, so we're not getting payments from the kids to pay for staff, because we
So-
don't get paid for the food.
So food service, let's just talk about that real quick. Just because I know other schools have considered the program you're on. Several other schools have decided not to do it. Now I understand that means all your kids get free lunch,
Right.
okay?
So
You're not getting reimbursed from the feds at the same rate that you would get reimbursed, someone that is not qualified for free or reduced lunch and paying the full price, you're actually getting less from them or for them when they're.
She came and explained that at the last meeting. She did a great job with that.
Sure, okay. So you're well aware of what that
Yeah.
means and
We
what that looks
talked
like.
with that prepared about going back to the program and that, and we've gone back and forth about it. But at this point in time, they felt it was fair to leave it the way it is, but the other piece we have we struggle with is collection.
Mhm.
And being in a poverty area, that's one of the factors that we talk about all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's, as long as you understand that that's the difference, or that
Right.
could negatively impact you, that's, I mean, that's really all it comes down to. And from there, it's your guys' decision on how you want to approach that. Any other questions on the general fund? Okay. Item number 7, special revenue funds, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So you have the gift fund, which is Fund 21. Total assets in that fund were 131,342. Fund balance, the same. So revenues for the year, 160,377, and expenditures 181,691 for a decrease there of 21,314. These special revenue funds are always going to fluctuate depending on, right, they're for a specific purpose. So generally speaking, if someone provides a gift to the district, it's going to be accounted for in Fund 21. What used to be student activity funds, if you remember those several years back, those got moved into the gift fund. So a little bit of flexibility or fluctuation there in Fund 21.
I don't see our Fund 21 on our treasurer's report.
Yeah, it's not activity.
It's just listed as activity fund. Okay, I'll have to look through and. I'm just not seeing it. Okay.
Sorry, I use the terminology from DPI. That's why I always throw in fund numbers.
Right, and we just labeled them with like what they are, but
Oh, gosh.
we've got 10.
So it's on its own.
It's just on, it's not in that book cash balances.
Oh, fund.
Okay.
Okay. You good there?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, other special projects fund, Fund 29, so this is used for the district's Indian education or Title VII. So essentially you get a grant in, and the expenditures in that fund are strictly related to that grant. Total assets 11,402. You had a little bit of liabilities there, 7,665. And fund balance 3,737. Revenues for the year 34,859, and expenditures were the same, so no change in that fund there. Food service, total assets 7,640, total liabilities 7,640, leaving you no fund balance. I'm sure I gotta check that. I might have not did this on there, right? That asset is in there only for, because you have inventory on hand. Yeah, and it should be negative unassigned fund balance for the difference, so essentially that should be 0. Revenues for the year, 313,619. Expenditures, 399,944. Net other financing sources, net 86,325, so. What we looked on the front page. 91,000 out of the general fund, 86 of that was for the food service. Community service fund, total assets 56,494. Revenues for the year 45,000, expenditures 36,000, leaving you an increase in fund balance there of 8,964. Any questions on special revenue funds? Okay. Item number 8, debt service funds. Debt service funds are really just there to service the debt. You have Fund 38 and 39, they're reported all as one. Total assets 115,474. You had revenues coming in of 403,506, expenditures going out of 439,221. Other financing sources of 31,575. For a decrease in fund balance of 4,140. That 31,000, I'm assuming is a refinance or. Generally speaking. Item number 9, or any questions on debt service? Item number 9, capital projects fund, that's Fund 49. Assets 35,702. Expenditures for the year 302,283, and you issued some long-term debt there, 302,283 as well. No change in fund balance. Capital Improvement Trust Fund, Fund 46, total assets $27. You just had a little bit of income in there. Moving on to item number 11, long-term obligations. So you can see, bonds just over, so this is all GO, general obligation debt. Bonds, 3.4 million, promissory notes, 270,808. Bond premium, $133,012. And then the state trust fund loan, $100,332. So total general obligation debt, $3,914,152. Other long-term obligations, you have lease obligations, $23,085. Other post-employment benefits, just under 1.8 million. Wisconsin Retirement Pension Plan liability, $313,545. And compensated absences, $20,551. So total long-term debt overall, just over 6 million. You paid interest on long-term debt of $121,925 during the year. The equalized valuation of the district was $822,032,515. The debt limit related to that is just over 82.2 million. And debt subject to that limit, you're looking at 3,715,389. So you're utilizing 4.5% of your debt, your GO debt limit at your end. Okay, any questions on long-term debt? Okay,
Have you ever been, is there even a long-term strategic budget plan?
I don't know that. I think you have a long-term capital plan. As far as a strategic plan, that's a admin question now.
Yeah, we do. There's capital.
We have a strategic plan.
Strategic plan and a capital plan, yeah.
Okay. Can we get copies of those?
Yeah, yes.
Good. Okay. So that brings us back to page 66 and 67, and I generally just pull these right from the financial statements so you can see them. 66 and 67, these are the federal dollars that you received. Food service or the child nutrition cluster from the Department of Ag, 300,898 across all types. So that includes breakfast. Commodities would be the food distribution. And then food service for lunch, and then the summer lunch program as well, which you didn't have any of this last year. Then you got Title I, there's another large one, impact aids, 212,468, and then grouped together special education, 198 between the two programs, and then a newer one for you this year was Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, 152,000. So on page 67 there, in total, you received just over $1.2 million that were related to federal dollars. Now you'll see on this schedule, it says pass-through entity. A lot of those dollars come through the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. So the district's claiming them from DPI. DPI is saying we got, this is your allocation. They provide proof that the dollars were spent, and then you get reimbursed for them. Okay.
So are you able with the impact aid? So that was the amount that we ended up getting last year for impact aid. Do you know like what percent we should be getting? Because that's something we can never count on, whether we get 4,000 this year or 8 million next year.
Can
So,
I figure out how much you have when I show up?
okay, so there's nothing even with like the line of work you're into just to look at our area and what land qualifies for impact aid and like what percentage we technically should be able to budget for, because that's what we should be getting. There's no formula for you to even,
I don't.
okay.
I don't know how they calculate it.
Just on the little bit of research
no
that
one
we did
does.
too, it doesn't look like, it looks like the formula changes for every district.
I had a district that had never had it before pop up and get it this year.
And how much do they get?
They got minimal, so that tells me they have few Native Americans.
But what's minimal?
Like 10 grand.
Okay,
So you've always received anywhere in that 100 to 200,000 range from what I recall.
Right, but like
Which is-
there's other school districts that got like
Yes.
billions, and so it's like, okay, what are they, I don't know what else, also Lake Superior, so I'm thinking because they're on Lake Superior, but I don't know if they actually have that much more land, I mean, I'd have to look, compare the
Yeah,
tribes.
honestly, I don't know how they calculate that aid. That's one that I do not have. any-
Well, I know this year other schools, well, you sent us that thing that Evers was complaining about, like it was notified to him saying like. That the federal government, because there was other school districts contacting him saying like, hey, we're not getting this money all of a sudden, where that's been a routine here. I don't know, like Laura's always been like, I don't know when we're getting it, if we're getting it, what we're getting.
Right.
So I think some of the
Yeah,
other
you
school
submit your
districts are
application and
impacting that.
It's like they just start sending checks when they feel like it.
Well, and you've got one that was from like 2016 or whatever recently, so how does that work accounting wise if we give money
Impact aid, we always recognize it in the year you
in the
get
year
it.
you get it?
Yeah, because we,
DPI wants it.
That's wild. That is,
because you
I mean,
don't,
that's the only thing you can do, is now you can go back to 2016, like, oh, we're in the,
yeah. We're in the green. now.
yeah. So,
yeah, there's revenue recognition rules that. Just at that point, say you recognize it in the year to get it,
yeah, I
especially
mean,
when it's that far.
just like when we're hurting and stuff, and we know there's pockets of money like that out there, it'd just be really nice to understand. Like how much exactly we maybe should be getting, like what is the formula, and then obviously. To try to
And all
argue
of-
with the federal government about at what point.
Right, and of all the federal dollars you get. That's one of three that comes directly from the feds. If it come from DPI, they'd probably be able to give you a really good idea, but that's one funding program that has always been directly held with the feds. I wish there was a way we could estimate it. The only way I would do it is maybe if you can correlate with like maybe the number of kids you have compared to your total general population, and then look at over the last 5 years, how much revenue, like you'd have to do it over a period of time to say, you know what, in 2020, we got 100,000 and we had 20 kids, and now we got 200,000, we got 40 kids. But maybe it's,
Yeah, on land
it's
based,
based on
Well,
it's
it's
land,
based on
land based
what I.
versus how many tribals, or I mean, there's other
so
reasons.
it's not
too.
based on students.
No.
It's supposed to collect for property taxes that aren't taxed because it's land that
Federal
is
trust land.
in
Tribal
federal
trust land,
And so.
and then low
So
income.
it's
We
a
try-
makeup for
But you
the,
have to count the kids that like.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
weird, because the application asks for
the
how many kids you have in relation to, but it, like that. It's weird that it'd be based on land mass, because like application, normally that's what they do, the Metricon, and they ask for. How many native kids are sped,
It's-
special ed,
it's probably a combination of both since it changes year to year as well.
Well, the letter that I had from the senator was they take a calculation based on students, land. And
Right.
overall population, and then they pay out a percentage, but Ashland got a pile of money last year, and so their calculation came in at like 29%, and we got the same amount as the year prior, and our calculation came in at like
so
7%.
Ashland, I actually do an audit for a township up in the Ashland School District. And I think you have to throw them out for last year, because they just settled a major lawsuit up there.
Well, I don't know how they can, because Bad River, the tribe closest to them, has their own school, I thought, so I'm not sure how many tribal kids are going to Ashland.
Right. I
But
know
obviously there's something else going on right there,
And
so.
regardless of the dollar amount they got, the question is more the percentage, like,
Percentage was. way
if we're
too-
supposed to get
Yeah.
100% and they got 25% and we got 7%, what causes that skew of the percent of total? Because the program's never been fully funded since the 50s.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good, I don't have.
There's someone in Washington with a
Yeah.
windowless office that throws some numbers at a wall. And
Sees what's. All right, so then pages 68 and 69, this is looking at just state aid. Obviously, your largest one is the general aids cluster, 960,000. Then you have. It's called handicap aid, but categorical aid related to special education, 271,000. Sparsity aid, 159. A lot of these are just formulas based on. This is your enrollment, this is how much we're gonna give for that aid. You qualify, so here you go. Student achievement, guaranteeing education, per pupil aid, high cost transportation. So in total there, you receive total state financial assistance of just over 2.1 million. Okay. Any other questions on anything we have not covered? Have
So the
covered?
categorical aid from CISA, what
Yep.
is, so we're, even though we pay a lot of money to CISA for the programs we get back, they're also like paying us.
Right, so they're reporting eligible expenditures to DPI, and when they get their aid, all the districts that pay them for that are aid allowable, they
Okay,
basically divvy up the aid back to the school district.
that's good. I mean, that's because CISA, the stuff is on another line item tonight, so it's interesting to see.
It all depends.
There
on
we've
the
seen
type
it
of
before
service you
too, but,
use, you know, and if
Okay.
they can count it as eligible or not,
okay. Thank you.
right, correct? Any other questions? In general?
Absolutely.
I would have kept doing
I
it.
know, I do it every time I pick up the computer as well.
What is she looking up something?
She's trying to scroll on the.
Yeah. That's a hard habit to.
It is.
You looking for something still, Polly?
Nope, not on the audit thing. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Appreciate you being here today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon, much appreciated.
I'm more than happy to come, and it's just gotta let you know.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Okay.
Thanks again. All right. Moving on, treasurer's report.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
So anything with the treasurer's report on this aside from, looks like we got some money that came in.
We got our taxes and short-term debt paid off. So that leaves us with 1,088,719.
I have one question, just what, I don't know what it is. The accident fund? It has a 3,000, what was that?
That is our workman's comp.
Okay, thanks.
Did you see 121?
Did you find?
Yes.
I did, yeah, I see that they're on there, and under our nice new labels there, our fund 7 is labeled fund 6. Or not fund, but title 7 is labeled title 6. I bet 6 and 7 are
Kyle?
pretty different. Fund 29. And then the book cash balance on the little box that has the
It
labels
is
on.
actually fund
6.
I thought we were,
Title 6.
that, then the one that was just in here was said fund 7.
So I think it.
Or
It
is-
used to be fund.
I think
Title
that's what I was gonna say,
7.
because Tara works under Fund 6, so he has it, Brandon has it wrong.
Okay, then that's where I was.
Okay,
confused,
that's
'cause
what I,
was like
yeah,
29 to 7.
I
Okay,
have no color fund, title fund.
got it.
because I'm like, Tara's is Title 6, so I was, and then, yeah, the tribe was Title 6.
It is technically title 6 now.
All the numbers that we can give and all the titles to the things. Okay,
What we do with 1, 2, 3.
I know, and I get them mixed up every time I'm talking about them. Which
Yep.
one goes to which?
Anyone else have any questions in regards to this for Laura? All right, then I'll go on to the monthly meeting
Plan to.
and on to new business. Dan, you're up.
Like first thing, I'll talk about the smell on the elementary.
Mhm.
So again, no. Oh. So over winter break, I had in February, I had that tutor vent replaced. Cause whoever put it in there glued it in where it's supposed to be able to, you're supposed to be able to replace it. Would cut it and put a new one in. I had that replaced and I had the air handler. Drain capped off for now. And you haven't heard anything since.
Sweet.
One of those.
Confirm, yeah.
I don't know how it's possible because I don't. Was coming out of there. hopefully it was just one of them.
This is good to hear, definitely, because I know it was a plague down there.
It's been gone for a little bit, but. Not worrying back.
Probably just need stuff, yes.
Um. So we had well, I had Johnson out for a fire system. Because they came out to work on an area that when they did the referendum, it wasn't working quite right, so this was basically where the boys bathroom is. So when they did that work, something was not working quite right, but. But apparently there is no telephone line hooked up to this system. So if nobody's in the building and a fire alarm goes off, nobody will know about it.
What?
So they were gonna send me some information about how to do that. So like there was like 3 options.
Not part of a law.
One was hooking up to email somehow, or then the other possibility was on phone, on a cell phone.
Is that through the security company or that's through
No,
fire?
it's
Oh,
separate.
That's just the
Gotta be
fire
separate.
system.
So it's not, it can't be tied into the
Yeah,
security?
it can't be tied in.
A lot of
No,
times your
because they're
security
companies.
can alert you.
It used to be where they were the same company.
Okay.
So my
Oh.
guess is maybe it used to be hooked up to that. So then when it was, there was basically a different
Well-
company. That maybe they just unhooked it then. I don't know.
What?
Thanks for
what
not letting
would
us know.
call
Goodness,
If we had
haven't
a
had an
fire
issue.
and someone wasn't here, because we're not sprinkled, so it's not gonna be a sprinkler system that goes off, but do we have smoke detectors then? In places, like,
Yeah, there's smoke.
Yeah.
there's smoke detector,
Would
okay,
there have to be?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
So-
Johnson control.
okay,
Yeah.
They're
okay.
in the
Yeah.
vents and everything.
I was like, well, most fire systems are, I think of
Wow.
the sprinkler as the thing that would
Well,
call.
look for smoke every time you drive by if there's anything here.
But he said there is a phone line in that box.
It never got
It's
hooked
not
up,
hooked up.
okay.
So I don't know if when that got separated, that maybe it just got, okay, well, we're not answering that call anymore because it's a different company.
Sure, that makes sense.
That's kind of my guess is what happened.
Yeah.
So I
How much is it
For,
to hook up
it sounded like the
Okay.
cheapest way was the
by email?
cell phone. So it could send would be
Alert.
hooked up to the school technology somehow.
Mhm.
And that would send out a
Wow.
text or something, so.
That'd be the best
That
road to
wasn't
go
good.
nowadays.
I'm glad they found that
A
out.
new brush for the skid steer is $2,100 to replace.
Are you requesting one or that what was,
Yeah, it's.
or did you get a new one?
I didn't get it.
Okay, so is this need to go to the next month meeting for us to approve?
It's under the
Well,
limit.
Okay, so.
Or is that something you guys just approved?
$5,000, I can't approve, but since this is under, I just wanted to let you know,
Okay.
and I think we do have some money budgeted for that.
I was just making sure. we're-
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanna explain how I know, cause we have a service that helps us, but he also does. In
I
conjunction.
do all the sidewalks
Right.
and all that part. And then we have the jocks just do the parking lots.
Yeah.
And then the playground back there.
Mhm.
So, and the brush works really well to clean off the sidewalk, so.
So I just wanted the board aware of it, so just.
And the actual brush itself is bad, or just the bristles need to be replaced?
You can't really just replace the bristles, it's basically one piece.
I see.
Basically, you unhook the bearings, there's a bearing on one end and then your hydraulic pump the other end.
It's just a
You
known
unhook it,
weird
take it out and you put it in one end.
I think
Gotcha.
you had mentioned that you're gonna be looking at having to get a new one, if I remember right.
Or he was gonna see if he could switch the bristle, but
If we could roll that in next year's.
Yeah.
Budget, that would probably be best. I mean, you can make it through the end here now.
Yeah, this is more for next
year.
Next year,
Okay.
gotcha.
The boilers have been working pretty good for the most part. I am having a CO alarm on boiler number 2. So I turned that one off and have been running number 1. And it's been functioning for the most part. It's shut off a couple of times on me, but I got, little mechanical or whatever they are out of the city, they're supposed to come out, take a look at it. We still have a couple months, but
It'll be 50 on Friday.
And stay hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see,
It's like those kids in sweaters.
but
Run
yeah,
that.
they're not supposed to charge, so.
I'm just getting close.
No, you're fine.
I think I recall that our chillers were just, something was done to them, correct?
Yeah, that was 2 years ago now. I think they had to, they basically,
Talked about it.
they basically were leaking. They had a bad leak.
Okay,
So then that type of Freon was no longer available, so then they had to replace it with an updated Freon, which costs a lot more than the old stuff.
okay,
And then they found the leak and
maybe that's what
fixed
was,
that
is
leak.
that this fall?
No, I think you
No,
have the
that was-
locker room, the situation by the locker rooms. I don't remember what those were.
Chiller.
What was the
Okay.
locker, what's the?
Oh, that air handler on the.
Handler.
Oh, yeah, it was, yeah. we
That was the
replaced-
spot, is that what you're? is
Replaced
there
it.
another
That
way?
might be, I'm not sure. I just thought I remembered something about the
Three
chiller,
that
and I
we
just,
were-
a thing pop up that was like a memory from the last referendum. That those chillers were replaced, were they replaced and are they not very old?
No, the chillers weren't.
They weren't replaced in the last referendum.
The
Okay.
roof was the last referendum.
In the 2019 referendum, the chillers were a priority,
Yeah, they
That
were
was
looking into.
so they were not
They were
They were
replaced
looking
during
into
that.
adding another one so that they could show the gym is what they were looking into. Because I know Craig had to figure out if the roof would hold
Hold the
another
weight.
one.
Okay, and that's when
That, and then the cost of a new one.
the referendum ran out of money or something.
That was during
Okay,
construction.
Yeah, I don't know.
thank you.
How did our water look with the first snow melt on the playground? Then good?
I mean, there was water back there, but it was a nice easy melt, so it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't a lake.
This wouldn't be the year to test it.
Yeah,
Was it puddle? Did we have puddle?
yeah, I'm just intrigued to see if that corner of the blacktop has the water.
On the
For a while,
north
but
corner
not
there,
bad.
Lawrence Flow, there was plenty of water there.
I figured this would be a good week to watch it.
But it-
And that's what we're waiting to see if we're gonna do some drainage
Yeah.
stuff with.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what I
why.
thought, I was wondering the same thing. This is a good year to check it because we have
Not really, 'cause
snow.
it all soaked in.
Yeah, there's no frost this year to hold it, so it's actually not the greatest. year to
Oh,
do
I
that.
see.
It
I think
wasn't
because
like-
there was so much snow, it's
No,
gonna melt.
It's, everything's absorbing in really well,
Oh,
because the
okay.
frost isn't there.
Yeah,
Well,
our sites
yeah,
are
that's a
actually
good thing
clean, we
too.
can drive on them for the first time in forever.
Yeah. But we'll see with this quick melt off, how potentially that does at least moving the
I'm sure
water.
there'll be a on over there, but it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if the pipes under the ground are not froze,
Mm.
so it's gonna move through there.
Great.
Okay,
That's all.
All right.
thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
This way now for a minute.
Yeah, it's center window for me.
I keep moving too.
We need curtain.
I'm good now.
Borrow 'em from the auditorium.
All right, on to the next item, summer school 2026.
So I'll just start. The reason I asked Carrie to look into this or put this out was, A, I wanted you guys to see it. But I went to Chamber to do my referendum presentation this last week or the week before, whenever it was, the third, I think it was. And Tex happened to be there and the Chamber was meeting and we were talking about the road construction because they were trying to update us. You know, and they're continually talking about that at the Chamber meeting, so I just asked them point blank, I said, you know, with the routing and that they're doing, I mean, what do you guys suggest about our summer school? And Tex immediately said, you know, I would postpone it this year, wouldn't have it, and then some of the other, and Cybers, the ex-chief too was on Chamber, and they were just kind of mentioning it maybe would be best due to the recent rerouting that maybe it wouldn't be in your best interest to do it this year. So that's when I talked to Carrie and then asked her to put in her letter or whatever and let the board see it. So that's where that came from,
Where are they routing it?
right in front of the.
It'll be up, the northbound traffic will be up Fourth, the southbound traffic will stay on the highway. And will move from either the southbound or northbound lane as they're doing.
I was told though that, because I was asking about the fall too, like, hey,
Yeah.
you know, this is a concern not only now, but for the fall, but they
Yeah,
said
so it's a time.
they are under penalty if they don't finish
Mhm.
by fall.
What, yeah,
I
what,
haven't
That's
heard.
what I
the
was
public
told,
part,
that's what the change.
But I've,
said.
I've heard too that the Monarch, some of it's on Monarch to do the paving portion, and they might be starting as soon as road restrictions come
He
up.
told me it should be done by school.
Yeah, so they're gonna start the
That's what
roundabout
Chambers-
to the pork chop, that's the big wide
Mhm.
part at the lake.
Mhm.
That might get its remill right away this spring, and that portion would be done before this portion starts.
Is the village of Siren doing the sewer with it too? Wasn't that tagged into it? It wasn't?
They're not
Okay.
gonna- Not like Frederick.
do you have a picture of what, I don't even know what, I know it's been talked, I remember Eric talking about it too, and you guys talked about it, but. I haven't seen, so it's,
Gonna do before that, that's gonna
Here.
tear it up, isn't it?
It is gonna include the trucks. I know that most of the towns for Old 35 are keeping the road restrictions on for the summer to force the trucks not to go up the road. There's no rules on them taking the restrictions off, so that would keep
They have
the
to take
truck
them off
traffic
I thought
over
it had to
here.
be off by April.
No,
No,
the townships can keep
Townships-
road restrictions anytime. Yeah, maybe the county can't, but the
Well,
town can keep them posted.
they have to take them off for 24 hours, like in this type of year for us, when it cools down, warms back up, they can take them off for 24 hours and restate them for 6 weeks at a time, so. Most of the villages play that game of taking them off temporarily and then, yep, Sunday night, take them off and put them back on Monday night, so. Fourth Ave's gonna be tore up though, having heavy trucks on it.
I know some of the townships were taking pictures of the roads to submit for state aid to have it replaced, so hopefully the village will
Good.
look at doing that.
Evidence, what it
Yeah.
looked like before and what it
Yeah.
looked like after. That makes sense.
And then they can, especially it being the actual detour route, they should
Mm-hmm.
be able to recon, but that's on the village to be able to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it was not our choice as the school to have this as,
Right.
and that's been a rumor out there as well, that we chose this as the detour site, that the village and the school agreed to it, and no one was given an option. It was just told by the state that this is how it will be. Mhm.
yeah, I think if we had a choice, we would not have it go past our school.
Right.
No.
Yeah, there's a street.
Lots of people ask me that.
Why couldn't they use that?
That's what Frederick had done.
Right.
I mean, I usually did the second one because there wasn't many stop signs, but the first one was the one that Frederick had. I was just wondering if there was a date, thinking maybe we could potentially try to do some type of summer school right before school would start, but I think with not knowing when the road construction, so.
There is the information meeting tomorrow. At Josh Ageen's,
For the road construction.
right,
Mhm.
so if anyone has. Further questions, that'd be a good place to maybe get them answered. I think we can all agree, though, that we would love to get back to having a summer school offering here. And hopefully after this last hiccup, we'll be able to get back to that. Anyone else in regards to Carrie's letter here before we move on to the next thing?
I definitely understand the concerns of the public with the lack of childcare and with food insecurity, but I also can understand the disaster of the street. So,
Well, and ensuring safety.
Well,
and this was talked about, I know last year, at the time that the decision was made that summer school was going to be canceled last year, this was talked about as it probably would be for the road this year too. So I do think that people have had planning time to consider it. I don't like it, but I think that it's not a brand new
Mhm.
And
wrench in a fire.
Did we do like the hunter safety, snowmobile safety ones last year, who puts those on and
We
did
didn't
they?
do summer
didn't
school
do
last
Right,
year.
I know we didn't do summer school, but I couldn't remember if those classes got put on still at all either. Okay.
No.
Which maybe
Or
it's
even
the
if
past,
it's different.
well, I don't know if we want kids in the school, but Webster's the one who's taught the hunter safety. I don't know, we do snowmobile safety, but we've done, she's done.
Webster.
From Webster's normally the one that does it, and he didn't,
do it.
he didn't redo it at a different location last year.
No.
Maybe it's worth an ask to see if he would still want to do it if we could find a different location
do it.
to try to keep something happening.
Is what he told me.
He would,
He would.
But
do
he
it
have
if
to be
got
paid.
to
and-
oh, if he got paid,
Because in
I
the
see.
summer school program, we have summer school
School.
funding, and he gets
And he
paid
get
to
paid.
do it.
Got it.
So I had asked him if he was willing to do like an after-school class or something, just because there isn't
Quite
having
cute.
for it in the area, but I don't know that we have funding to.
Yeah, could we do
offer
it through Fund 80 through Q and make it a community class?
We could.
I don't know.
Yeah, that would
Cause
be
then I
a
could
really
talk to
easy
him
thing
and
to
see
have.
if he wanted to do like a spring after, well, I guess it's kind of late now, but like a different time or a different location maybe, but then we'd have to we'd have to find someone that would let us do it there for free or whatever.
But Becky would be able to set that up.
True.
It used to be done out at South Fork.
Mhm.
There's another one
at
at South Fork.
teachers.
There's
Okay.
a different.
So they
one.
Or,
have
I
other
mean,
options.
Yes,
maybe
they have other
even,
options.
cause he's used Coyland as his, on Saturdays. I don't know if people would wanna go out there, being that we queue with Webster School District, maybe even I don't know if
Yeah.
he'd be willing to, but maybe Webster School
But then
District would be
the
able.
kids would have to pay through Q, which would potentially work, and then he
But
gets
if-
paid a portion of that as an instructor. Or the funds could come directly out of the Q budget if they want to do that.
Well, I'll mention it to him again, just when I had asked, there was
Yes.
talk of it, so.
Then at least something's we're
Yeah,
trying
that'd be
to
nice.
give options.
I mean, it's select kids, but yeah, no, Sophia did it through, Matthias just did it tribal, so mine are good. If anyone's looking, the tribe usually has one. End of September, early October, out if they have it at the clinics, they have hunter safety, there's like a week, sometime in October. Huh?
Do they have to be 10?
I think they can have it at any time.
I don't know, so I don't know, there's different area, because Trish and Kat took it when they were 8, 9.
Yeah.
And Sophia did it at like 11 and Matthias just did it at 10. But I feel like my niece and nephews at St. Croix Falls, like they're not allowed to do it till they're 12. I don't know.
Need it when you're older than 12.
I thought it was 10. I think that maybe different places set different age limits.
I think that's what it is.
Walter took it at South Fork and it was 10.
Yeah, I don't,
And I think Brian only wanted those 12 and up.
right, and it could be, it could be a preference of the thing.
Instructor.
When Sophia, I think, I can't remember what year she took,
Cause
well,
it
she
wasn't
was
this
maybe,
past summer, it was this.
right, it was
summer
11
before.
or 12, she took it with Brian. And
mean-
Matthias took it out there, but of course, with it being tribal and with Khan's position, it's kind of like, I don't know, like I said, though, Kat and Trish took it out there and they were literally like 8 and 9, because they.
If any
turned
other
9 and 10
teacher
after
was
it.
passionate and wanted to teach a class of some kind, we could also help steer them through Q as an option for them to set their own class up and own cost potential too. So.
But we'd
if-
still need a location, because like I'm
But then
thinking,
she would be able to help orchestrate
Okay.
that. Between, any of the spots around, but if
so I guess
the
that's just
teacher
the
is so
question.
moved that they would
Right.
want to be able to do something.
It's basically, we're gonna close down the school again like we did, or we had set the plan for the summer with the road construction like we did last year, even though the construction was going on here.
Well,
And
and
not
not had
have-
open gym because they were able to use
Right.
that door, and I feel like our coaches and athletes are still gonna want open gym.
Yeah, no, I think, and the weight room.
They'll be-
I was just thinking if we're doing Q, like even if we did hunter safety, would it be an issue having it here? Or if like, say, if she said, like if Heather wanted to do a class in the or someone else, I just
If
don't
the
know.
entrance can come through the elementary side or off of B, it could be a
Better
potential.
than this. one
And
here.
it was the construction and the fact that we didn't have a playground as
Mhm.
last year's, like
Yeah.
combining pieces
Mhm.
and fire escape and.
And it's
all
a
of
big
that.
difference to have 8 kids coming to the building to have 80 kids
Yeah,
coming to
yeah.
the building, so,
And vehicles.
yeah.
And
Exactly.
individual
What they
vehicles
needed,
instead of
I think,
buses.
safety wise, if there's a different entrance.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, so if we need a vote on this,
Do
let's send it to monthly.
we need a vote?
I don't know if we do actually, but
Kind of
No,
just
just
something
for me to
Carrie
know.
can-
Just a FYI.
Thank you.
Is it going out mail or email?
Did you remake a
I'm not
motion to
sure. I
bring
haven't
that to?
thought that far ahead,
Okay.
But probably.
Oh, we don't need to,
Either
it just
do
automatically
that.
goes to, okay.
The most
Like
reliable.
Every other thing. It's like one we need to do at the next.
Put it in.
It's like everything
We don't-
else, we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
do any.
I know, I just didn't know if we needed to pass a motion to bring it to the
No.
regular meeting.
No. All right,
What's hitting me? Perfect.
there's nothing else for that. Moving on, CISA 11, shared services for 2026, 2027.
So I just go through and I ask admin and we review the contract together. You know, absolutely adds or drops. For the most part, this contract resembles that of last year. With the exception, I did talk to, Mr. Olson, our new technology person, and, felt like the cybersecurity piece wasn't quite the punch.
I was wondering, yeah,
It was
okay.
more policy directed, where I was hoping for more troubleshooting
Yeah,
if there was an issue, and that's not how it's been.
and it's not an insurance, like if we get hacked, 'cause
Yeah.
that is part of an insurance somewhere else, isn't it? We
Yes,
had that
yes.
came on as one of our new insurances, yeah.
But I guess part of the reason I did that was because I was worried we weren't gonna have a tech person.
Yeah,
So I thought maybe he could consult me with other things. But then Brandon and I just talked to him point blank and he thought we didn't need to keep that piece.
We,
so I mean, on our instructional support and professional development, I mean, are these things really getting utilized? Like when we have the science math resource center and they can send stuff out for that. I mean, we're gonna pay $2,800 and we think we're utilizing that enough type of thing.
Well, actually, the one, is that the one? Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
I mean, we do the same contract just about every year.
Mhm.
And I just wanna, make sure that, sometimes we forget that we have access to different things and that the teachers are
Well, yeah.
really getting their money's worth out of.
Even the ELA teacher, like I'm assuming maybe it was Miss Clark that, so she was new, was she getting the one-on-one coaching? Like, did we utilize everything we can in those contracts?
Yeah. Good.
And then like she said too, are we bringing in those resources like we can do cow insemination, are we teaching kids like the broad area? Like we don't have an egg department. Are we utilizing some of those resources to come here?
Yeah.
Or like one of them's like fly fishing rods and stuff.
Natalie in particular takes a lot of groups of kids to, like the open heart surgery.
Oh, great.
and
oh, cool.
Those type, and the medical procedures and things like that, where they get to go to CISA and like be live
Mhm.
with the surgeons and stuff. And then we send out like the virtual field trip and stuff that they have, and then teachers are able to use them at all grade levels.
Awesome.
Cool.
And not that I want to lose any type of counseling, but like with the health, safe and respectful school, with that one at 28.90, but I feel like it's kind of duplicate of like what Miss McNally's doing with some of our grants with, what is it, the Youth Coalition and then like AODA, like, are we getting enough out of that we're not, or is that like a subsidy of the other things we're already doing and that's what makes it work here?
So that one would be, like, they hold a mental health summit,
And who attends that and how is that?
all of our counselors.
Okay, so.
Like more professional,
No,
professional network for,
yeah,
that,
where
they
they
do
get theirs. So
Okay.
one of the things I always
professional.
have
network.
said through the years is we have to remember that we're really rural
Mhm.
and we don't have resources. And CISA provides us.
No, and I don't want, I'm just thinking of our budget and how, so I'm like making sure like, okay, I'm like, okay, we have grants for some of this stuff. Is there potentially grant money that maybe could cover that portion of the CISA and
Oh,
or
that would
pay
for
for
the-
another training for them to go to? And maybe this year we don't do this portion of CISA and maybe it's too late to make those.
Like McNally next year at all.
Okay,
I mean, other than her volunteer work through YOBC, because we won't have the Stronger Connections grant anymore.
okay, so even with the Hope Squad, she's no longer gonna be a part of,
She will be voluntary.
Okay.
On the Hope Squad.
But we
Okay.
will still have people that are gonna
Yes.
be able to benefit. from
well, we
that.
still have, well,
That is actually.
It's hard to
the
say.
AODA grant, so we still have the AODA grant, but the AODA grant was like $5,000 or
Okay.
$6,000, something, don't quote me on that, but.
Okay, minimal.
The Stronger Connections was the one that was like 250,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the one that does it.
And that's not like a recurring, or we weren't able to, or they
It
just
was
didn't have it
not.
again? Okay,
No, it was a 2-year deal and.
okay. Speaking of, has Larson found anything?
Grant wise?
Yeah. For anything that we've
He's been,
applying, we just haven't.
there's an athletic
Mammoth.
he got that, he's gotten shoes and things like that for kids and that, but it's,
Been small stuff?
no.
How does that work?
Some, but it's it comes in shifts, so we don't really know.
It's like a big warehouse. and then-
Oh, I heard him talk about that.
So he's really active on that and has really been
But does he
soliciting.
know like what size? So is he like talking to one of the
He just gets what they have
coaches?
and brings them in
Oh.
and says, here you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's really been
Or
a
something.
pretty substantial grant, especially for kids in need.
And it's good
Okay.
stuff.
Tennis shoes.
and so with this, we have to what, make a decision? Was it March 27th? So I mean, that sucks too, cause like a week later is when we have a referendum, and I mean, the fact that,
We could always add services on the.
well, no, I'm not even worried about adding, I'm just I mean, I guess if we take something away, I just, not knowing what we're gonna have for staff, it's just,
They're pretty slow with adding.
okay. Well, that's good to know. So if we decide we maybe want to drop something, or obviously if we need to add something, which I guess we kind of dealt with this year too, because of the speech and the PT.
I should probably keep all grant and just tell them we're holding. You know, for the
What's
most
that?
part, they've approved the contract, but we're holding on a referendum and just say, hey.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything like we don't. We don't need, I just want to make sure we're like utilizing as much as,
Typically March is when he wants it because he has to hire staff the following year based on the need.
I mean, if you say that they're flexible with adding or removing things, I would be okay going ahead with it, and it would be more likely that things would get the possibility of added rather than removed anyway.
We have gone down to bare bones through the years since Kevin and I have been here and doing this.
Yeah.
The old contract used to have like 25 days of in-district consultants come in
I
and
remember you saying that.
so, I mean, we've kind of gone down to bare bones on a lot of that too, so.
so for the building systems of support for excellent teaching and leading, like which teachers are using that program? So it's like 702,
On the first Title II.
Title II, Title II-A, or Title II.
Oh, so,
Go
no, go ahead. What is it, the Title II-A? Oh, so we use, that's part of our Title I funds that come in, and those get delegated to either professional development and or homeless funds. And there was one other thing I was thinking.
Wasn't professional development one of the things that we dropped from the budget?
Correct.
Okay,
But it has to be specific professional development or Title I. or-
yeah,
Title II, okay.
yeah.
So you can't just tell me like a second grade teacher or a certain staff that's
I
you like.
can't off the top of my head, I don't.
So Becky, even though she's Title I, she's also utilizing the Title II, so it's more, it's her specialty versus,
conjunction.
or like Danielle versus some of our classroom teachers?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's something, I don't know what the percentage is, because it's 4.95, but maybe is that something, because we already have the Title I? That we can look to maybe not renew?
No, that's,
There's a lot of work to those grants.
Yeah.
That dollar amount is all the work that they do.
so
It's
they,
worth.
So
paying
we
for
have
it
a
because
Title
we get
II
the
grant.
later.
Title I and Title II go hand in hand.
Okay, so whenever you guys talk about Title I, there's a Title II, even though you're not mentioning it. Okay,
Yes, basically. It used to be part of Title I always, and now they called it Title II, but they
Okay.
renamed titles. So those those funds in Title I and Title II, and really Title III, if we were to get funds for Title III, which we don't.
We don't have it.
We don't have any EL students.
So should we
English
be
as a-
renewing the Title III?
We have to, we get a small amount of funds, I'm probably saying all this wrong, so stop me, anyone. We get a small amount of funds that we relinquish to CISA 11, correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's a small amount of funds that they relinquish back to us apparently, but they're out of it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And last year, we did not get any, so we didn't have to. Relinquish money.
Title II is
Okay.
very specific in how we delegate those monies. So
Okay.
it's used for our family nights. It's used for professional development. It's used for the homeless grant. We have to set aside certain amount of money for each of those pieces.
Okay.
And so that's where that comes from.
And then we take that little percentage, pay it to CISA. CISA gives those people additional training, which will hopefully get them more grant dollars for the,
Correct.
as they learn how things are
So they
processed.
do all
Yeah.
of this behind the scenes paperwork for
Yeah.
WISE and DPI
Yeah.
for us.
Not CISA, our people.
CISA.
Oh,
and-
CISA does it too.
Yep.
Got it.
CISA works behind the scenes
I see.
with us.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks for the clarification. That helps a lot.
Take that one to the monthly.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll go to monthly in case I didn't hear it loud enough. For approval. At this time, I'm looking for a motion to convene in a closed session under Wisconsin State Statutes 19.851 1C E F G to consider employment promotion compensation or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility, considerations of financial, medical, social, or personal information, and to confer with legal counsel who is rendering oral or written advice.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Jamie, seconded by Amy. Heard her first. Sorry, Corey. During this closed session, topics to be discussed are retirement of a high school teacher, retirement of elementary teacher, resignation of elementary teacher, and another resignation of an elementary teacher, all of which fall under, I believe it is C and F. Any discussion? Corey, take the roll.
Polly.
Yes.
Corey, yes.